Okay, welcome to Island Connects. Today, I'm going to show you how to make the best oxtails ever. Okay? So, stay with me and you'll be a master chef after I'm done with you. So, these are the oxtails. First thing we're going to do is clean these bad boys. Make sure they're nice and clean, all the blood is out of it. And then we're going to prepare it with some seasonings that I'm going to show you how to make these seasonings and how to get your meat nice and good. Okay, so when you clean your meat, what I usually do when I go to my meat market, I get my guys to cut the oxtails for me, split it down the middle, and cut it like maybe an inch and a half, because once it starts to cook, it starts to shrink. So you need to get a good size cut on your oxtails so that you still have a good meaty oxtail when you're going to bite into it. Okay, so how we're going to clean these oxtails? We're going to clean these oxtails with some vinegar, salt, and some lemon juice. Or if you have real lemons, you use 2 lemons or 2 limes, and you put it and submerge the oxtails in the water with vinegar, salt, and lemon juice. And you let that sit for like maybe a half an hour or so it can marinate inside of the meat and get it all clean. And then we're going to wash it off after that and start to season this meat, because the key is the seasoning that you're going to season this meat. That's going to bring the real flavor to your oxtails. Now when you first get the oxtails, they're going to be like this. They're going to be full of blood. But after you clean them, see, cut, split it down the middle. So after you clean them, this should be a nice white clear, meaning that you take all the blood out of the meat. So we're going to add the lemon juice, the salt, and the vinegar to take care of that for us. Okay guys, we're back. Let's check out the oxtails. They've been cleaning themselves in this lemon juice, vinegar, and salt water. Okay? So we're going to wash them off and see how they look. Okay guys, so the meat is in the marination of cleaning. Once it's nice and clean, all the excess fat will come off. You'll take it off and we'll start to prepare our seasoning that will go into that meat. So I'll show you some of the seasonings I use, and for the recipe I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. Now this is homemade. You gotta be very skillful to make a seasoning like this, because this is where the richness of that taste in your oxtails will come from. And this is a collective of spices that is blended together, and it's very, very good. Very good. And this is a homemade recipe. Let's take a look at the oxtails after we do clean them out. This is how it's supposed to look when you clean it. So from this point, we're going to put some seasoning on it. And after we finish seasoning that up, I'm going to show you how it looks after I put all my seasoning on it. And remember, the seasoning is the key. Once you season the meat the right way, it will taste wonderful. Okay, so I'll season it and I'll show you how it looks. Okay guys, I'm going to show you the seasonings that I use again one more time, so you get an idea of the seasoning that went into the oxtails, preparing the oxtails. the basil leaves. The basil leaves are key because what that does is burn the fat off the oxtails when it's cooking. So you need to get some good basil leaves in there because that's going to burn that fat off, like I say. I'm going to open the homemade seasoning, give you guys an idea of what it looks like. Now that's a lot of celery and peppers and a lot of good spices that is blended together. I'm also going to add one whole onion and some Sazan Goya. Depending on the amount of oxtails that you're going to make, that would depend on how much Sazan Goya you put. So for this size of oxtail, I'm going to put both of those Sazan Goyas. Now all the seasonings are applied to the oxtails, and this is how it looks. Now we're going to let this sit for a couple hours, and then I'm going to show you how to prepare it now in the pot, because there's two different ways we can get the texture that I need on this oxtail before I put it in the pot. So we're going to go over the two ways. I'm going to show you the easiest way that you can get this to be the rich, full flavor that you want and color. Okay? So now we're going to let the seasoning work by marinating into that meat for a couple hours. But the longer the better. But for a couple hours, we're going to let that marinate, and then we're going to start to cook it. See, it's been a couple hours. You can smell that good aroma smell coming from the oxtails. So the next steps here is preparing your pot, and you need a good cast iron pot to cook your oxtails. You gotta have a good cast iron pot. When the heat hit this bad boy, it stays hot. That gives your meat a good cook, you know, because the heat stays into the pot and it gives your meat that very good heat. So you're going to cook this oxtails over a medium heat. So I'm going to preheat the pot and get the pot where I need it. Once I get the pot where I need it, then I'll introduce the oxtails. Now, some people use brown sugar to get the brown on their oxtails. That is one method. The other method is to use a browning flavor sauce. Okay? I use Grace. My preference would be the browning from my home country, which is Barbados. But I'm not in Barbados, so I have to use this one. So I'm going to introduce a very small amount of this on the oxtails, and I'll show you how the color changes, and I'm prepping it going in. Here goes the finishing of the oxtails. When your oxtails are complete, this is how it's supposed to look, people. Now it's yum yum time.